What's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice back with another Juice Opinions, and let the downvotes begin. No, just kidding. Not really going to talk about last week's topic. It was done to death, and I'm honestly sick of hearing about it and seeing about it. Obviously, people have different opinions, and that's cool. I want to give a shout out to Real Gamer 27. He did a podcast last night. Meza T, Active Sin Alex, Gamer Nick, a couple other guys. The audio quality wasn't great at times, but they covered some really good topics, including, their thoughts on ports and remakes and remastered editions coming to a system. And I would just suggest going to watch that. Again, some of the audio, there were some audio issues in the beginning, but it got better. But good podcast. And they basically said how I feel better than I said it, and this is all I'm going to say about it, and then moving on. But yeah, it's all dependent on, look at every other factor. You can't just look at black and white. Like I said last week, I cover in gray area, and I try to look at things beyond just black and white. But they said, hey, looking at the lineup of the Switch, it's good. There's new games, there's sequels and stuff, so they don't have a problem with ports, even if Nintendo releases more down the line, as long as it's not your whole lineup, your majority of your lineup and stuff. So it was a really good discussion, and I would just go check it out. I'll put a link. I forgot to do that beforehand, but I'll put a link in the description if you want to check that out. It's a longer podcast, but that part was in the beginning. So yeah, that's it for that. And let's talk about Rime. And I think it's Graybox is the developer. They addressed the whole Switch version is $10 more. They went into some details. So they did exactly what I asked for, which is make the digital version the same price as the other systems, PS4, Xbox One, PC. So they did that. The Switch digital version is going to be $29.99. They said they couldn't keep the physical, or they couldn't lower the price because of the cost of having it ported, which was Tantalus, I believe. So I mean, they're a well-established studio. I'm guessing they're not a cheap studio to pay. And then the manufacturing, the cartridges that cost more, and Nintendo's licensing fees, which may or may not be more. I don't know. So what they did is, if you just have to buy it physical, you get a download code for the soundtrack, which they say is amazing. I haven't actually watched any new gameplay of the game or anything. So to me, like, they're going to sell that for $10. It seems like a good compromise to me. And they addressed every concern or anything I would have been mad about. They fixed it. So I wouldn't buy that physical anyway. Indie games to me are just digital games. I have no problem buying them digital. So if I go that route, if I get the game, I can, for $30, I can get the digital. With Best Buy's Gamer Club, I can get the physical for $44, I think, after tax, or $34, I'm sorry. But yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. I think it's the best case scenario for, they couldn't just drop the price of the physical, and then basically, if you believe what they said, they would either lost money, or they would have really, even if that wasn't true exactly, they dropped the price of the physical, and then it's like, well, why'd you say it costs more? Then you're lying. So I think they did the best. They made the best decision they could. I'm happy now. If the game turns out to be a good game, Tantalus is porting it, so I really have no concerns about the actual performance of the game, but I'm going to wait and see. It's no longer a absolute no buy. It's going to depend on the quality of the game, and the Switch port, which I think will be great. Most people, the soundtrack won't mean anything, but it's a nice gesture. I'm not sure how you get it. Like, where do you download it from? Is it iTunes? Is it Google, or where? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that They also said that very soon they're going to be announcing a release date for the Switch. They didn't have that yet. So I'm guessing in the next couple weeks or E3 we'll find out. And like I said, I haven't really watched any gameplay. I kind of wrote the game off after that whole announcement of the $10 more on Switch, and I didn't really like the way they answered, not just how they answered, people asking. So it's good that they did that, and I'm happy, and I feel like that's a good thing. And also, Shantae and the Half Genie Hero coming this summer. Way Forward just announced that, and it's like I have it on the Wii U, and I'm glad they stuck to it and they put the game out on the Wii U, and it was a good game. It ran well and looks beautiful, and I haven't checked in a while, but I don't know that we got any of that extra content other than the hard mode, and I have mixed feelings about the game. I'm glad, it's a good decision to bring to the Switch. I wish I just would have waited. And then hopefully they'll have some of that other content available soon and be for the Switch. I'm not sure if it's going to be paid DLC or anything on the other systems, but the problem I had with that game was they crowdfunded it. The past games they had, Pirate's Curse, it was like a 20-hour game for me. Like that was like a pretty deep, I think it was 15 hours. Very deep, very Metroidvania style, with 3DS graphics blown up on a TV. It didn't look the best, but really cool mechanics. You fight you go to an area, there's an actual like dungeon, if you will. You'd fight a boss, you get a new ability. In Half Genie Hero, they took away the dungeons, and you just randomly will get items here and there. There'll be like transformation abilities and stuff kind of hidden in the level, and it feels like half of the game that Pirate's Curse was, but with such beautiful art style and graphics that I think a lot of people forgave the fact that it really wasn't that good of a Shantae game in comparison. That's just how I feel. But yeah, it's cool. It's coming to the Switch, and like I said, hopefully more content. What was it? Risky Boots, and I'm trying to remember who the Roddy Tops. I think there was supposed to be some DLC or an expansion where you play as them, and completely different levels, I would think. So we'll see, but that's cool. And if you guys skipped it on the Wii U, I would say if it's $20 digital, it's it's pretty much right around that, being worth that. If you haven't played any of the others, I would still suggest getting Pirate's Curse. However, PC, wherever you can get it, 3DS. But yeah, it's a series I'd like to see them continue. But I definitely, you crowdfund and you get 900,000 or whatever they raised, and then you make a more shallow game, I would say. It is what it is, though. I guess if you haven't played it and you have a Switch, it's a 5-hour game, though. 4 to 5 hours. It's very short and pretty simple. So it is what it is. Anyway, I wasn't even going to bring that game up, but somebody in the chat mentioned it. So, and then, just talking about indie games in general, NBA Playgrounds just came out, and Ms. T has it, so we'll talk about it on the podcast. But it doesn't have the online play yet, and it looks like the AI is a little cheaper at times, and they got some things to iron out there and add the rest of the game for the Switch version. And it's like it's coming. They told you it's coming. It's gonna be no additional charge. That's cool. It made it out day and date. You can play offline or split screen or however the co-op works local while you wait for this to come. So that that's the better option probably than delaying the Switch version, or not even talking about, they were up front and stuff. So I'd like to see indies doing more stuff like that, but also making sure they don't rush out, because the Switch hype's really high right now. Don't rush out your game and to have the Switch version out as soon as possible. So like with Shantae Half Genie Hero, they're talking about summer, which could be end of August. If Nintendo thinks summer goes into September, so who knows there? But I'd like to see quality indies, not just quantity. Not Don't get as many indies as possible, because for them it's a good way for them to try to make some money. And the big heavy hitters for the Switch aren't out as far as new games, exclusive games, and I could see them wanting to get it out sooner than later, but also, don't want buggy games. You don't want to have to wait for patches and updates. And even Fast RMX did that, and it kind of took the wind out of the sails, because I only played the Friends lobby once, because by then, it was right before Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out, and it was just kind of like, if that was their launch, I mean, with Zelda, who knows how it would have played out, but adding that stuff a month and a half later, it was almost too late. So hopefully that doesn't become like a thing that happens a lot with the Switch in this first year. But we'll see. So yeah, let's just get on to the main thing. I don't want to make this a super long one tonight. So yeah, E3, Nintendo revealed their plans. They already had previously announced that there wasn't going to be a live press conference. I celebrated to myself. I know Robert Rule too. We have a difference of opinion on live press conferences. I think they're rarely, if they've only been good a few times ever, in my opinion, from Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, Sega. A live press conference has only been good a few times, from my perspective. I was so happy that Nintendo didn't say, well, let's go back to the live press conference. We got a popular system out. No. They're going with what they've been doing. They keep modifying it. Instead of a digital event, it's called a Spotlight, E3 Spotlight, focusing mainly on Super Mario Odyssey, which is, expected. I wouldn't be shocked if there's other new games. They did say 20 games released in 2017 would be the focus, but don't be surprised if there's 3 or 4 major reveals, or game like Fire Emblem. We already know it's coming, but more info there. The Shimigami Tensei game or whatever, just some more info, whether it's trailers or I would expect to hear some stuff more than just 2017 games. But still, they got Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Fire Emblem Warriors, and then they got the tournaments, which I love that they're doing that. Splatoon 2 tournament on June 13th, and then ARMS tournament on June 14th. I'm guessing I didn't see if it said invitational or people at E3 can partake. Hopefully Robert, gaming with me, can get in that Splatoon 2 tournament. That would be cool, because he's going to be there. And then my favorite is the Nintendo Treehouse Live coming back. And, it's like Nintendo just caters their E3 to me the last few years. The Zelda pretty much showed Zelda and a little bit of Pokemon and a few other 3DS games. I know a lot of people, even guys on the podcast, were just like, I was sick of Zelda by the end. I couldn't get enough. Like, it was tailor-made for me, that E3, and this one seems to be just doing the same thing. I think there's a lot of new things we'll see about Super Mario Odyssey beyond the 4 worlds they showed. I think that game's going to just blow people away. And getting back to the live press conference, I'm sorry, I work for a big company. That company was bought out by a huge corporation. I don't like dudes in suits blowing smoke up my ass. Whether it's good news, bad, whether they have cool stuff to show, it still feels like corporate BS every time one of those guys talks. Even Reggie. In interviews, when Reggie's a little more laid back, like his Pro Jared interview, I like him. When he's on stage or answering a tough question with a BS response, a politician response, I just don't like that. Never have, never will. And it's even the smugness on their face when they know they got something awesome to show. I just never liked it. When you got press there, I don't know who they're letting in, like Microsoft and Sony's this year with having the open public thing, but I don't need people cheering for me to be excited about a game announcement. Like, that's where me and Rob completely disagree with that, and movies and movie trailers. Like, I don't need other people's clapping and hooting and hollering to get me excited. It actually kind of just feels awkward, and I don't, doesn't add anything to the experience for me. So I am so happy. And we'll talk about E3 in the Juices Loose podcast coming up. Microsoft's going to be a little tough to talk about just because it's kind of just like Scorpio and some games we've known about for 3 years that may or may not be shown. Sony's will be probably interesting to see if they do what they did last year, because I thought that was the best Sony press conference they've ever done. Barely talked. They had the orchestra and they just showed game after game after game, even though the games, most of them didn't mean anything to me. It still was a good presentation, and I liked the way they did it, except for the slow walking. Here's God of War. Oh, we're going to slowly pan the camera. Make sure you see what you need to see, all scripted BS. I don't like that still, and that's why I love the Treehouse, and this will be good transition to the Treehouse. They're playing it. Yeah, you have to deal with California, some of them are, I guess, Washington area, some West Coasters trying to sound hip on camera. And sometimes it works, sometimes they're funny, and sometimes it's a little pretentious. But you get on camera in front of knowing millions of people are going to watch those videos and in demo games and see, how entertaining you are, But I just love that they're playing. If they die, they die. Like, watching them, the Zelda gameplays last year, they died many times just trying different things. It's a live gameplay. Then they go to GameStop or they go visit IGN and they do it again. They did it the year before, Star Fox Zero. It wasn't just, here's a replay of the E3 gameplay demo and we'll talk about it. Like, it's every time it's different. Every time someone else is playing, it's a different experience. Super Mario Odyssey, just seeing different people play, just like with Zelda. I don't think Mario's going to have as much variety and things you can do and stuff, but seeing somebody else play it the next time and them doing something completely different, that kind of stuff excites me. And if I'm going to watch somebody play a game, I want to watch them really play a game, not some scripted ass thing with slow camera movements and stuff. Play it like you're going to play it. Now, if there's some beautiful scenery, you can stop and pan the camera around. They did that with Xenoblade, Zelda, over the years with Nintendo Minute and Treehouse stuff. And if they want to stop and show you something or how awesome something looks, they will, and then they pan the camera. I just hate that scripted shit. It just, it just doesn't work for me. It's better than CGI trailers and just trailers, but you might as well not even have the guy up on the stage. Just record the footage. Like, you it may already be recorded footage, if that's the way you're going to do it. I'd like to see Sony do a Treehouse like thing, or Microsoft, and have people playing. Last year, if they had somebody go through that God of War demo and had a different person play it and have a different experience, that would be so much more interesting to me. So I love the Treehouse. Sam is, I think she's kind of the lead Treehouse person under Bill Trinan. I think she's a good host. And then the rest of the guys, Ed and I forget all everyone else's names. They're cool people. They're regular people like us. Yeah, sometimes they're trying to sound cool and it's a little awkward and stuff. But I just really enjoy watching people play live, actual games and on the system. No BS. I love that. So, and then the tournaments, like I mentioned earlier, that's just cool to watch that stuff. So it's exciting. It's all 3 days, and I have that whole week off. So we'll see. Maybe not next week's going to be a kind of a special episode of the Juices Loose, and then the following week we'll probably start our E3 discussions and predictions and stuff. So, but yeah, like I said, I didn't want to make this as long as usual. I got a few movies to watch. I'm finally going to watch Doctor Strange and Deepwater Horizon. So I'm going to wrap this up. And then one last thing. When I was talking, I just brought up movies. Something's just bugs me. And, I'm not a DC or Marvel guy. I didn't read comics. I grew up watching the Spider-Man cartoon, Batman the animated series, the X-Men cartoon. Those were my exposure to comic books. Was those awesome cartoons back in the day. Superman had a cartoon that was pretty good. And yeah, that was my upbringing with superheroes. I never read comics. And so yeah, uh, so I don't have a bias, or I didn't have a bias, but now that we've been getting these superhero movies. I mean, Spider-Man came out in 2002, but when the Marvel Studios Iron Man, I think that was 2007 or something, 8, when they established the formula for Marvel Studios movie, I think it was Avengers 2 that really I was riding home with my buddy. I was like, yeah, it was pretty funny, but it's just it's feeling kind of the same, and they keep doing them, and they're well-made movies, and they're entertaining. Sometimes, CG's top notch and all that, but it's become this whole, well, Marvel versus the DC movies are trying to catch up. So Warner Brothers, I think, made a mistake. They rushed into trying to Batman versus Superman. I think they kind of rushed with Suicide Squad and stuff, but their next movie, Wonder Woman, I've seen the trailers and they all looked fantastic. Now, I have no history with Wonder Woman. I like Gal Gadot, or Gadot, however you say it. I liked her in Batman versus Superman, and then the few other movies I've seen her in, Criminal. I think she's actually a good actor, and the Wonder Woman trailers look amazing. Now, this is what I want to talk about. And Batman versus Superman, they showed Doomsday. It was the first. Was it the first official trailer after the teaser, or the second official trailer? And everybody on the internet all said the same thing, including myself, and I agreed. They showed too much in the trailer. Didn't need to see Doomsday. Didn't need to see basically the movie laid out for me. But because of the negative reaction, Warner Brothers got nervous. So that what they do next? They showed even more of the movie, and they showed the whole Batman scene where he goes into that warehouse and takes all those dudes out. The best part of the movie, they blow that in the trailer, trying to get people's asses into the seats at the theater. So the movie did 166 million, and then quickly tapered off. I think it ended up in the 700 million worldwide. And so coming from that fiasco, and then Suicide Squad was a whole nother beast. Who knows? Reports coming out of reshoots, this and that. You don't see the Marvel movies. You don't hear anybody say, "Oh, well, what happened? The Ant-Man director got canned or left," and no one makes a big deal about that. And Suicide Squad, there's rewrites and stuff. Well, the movie comes out just shitted on in the reviews, just like Batman vs Superman. Still does well. So now Wonder Woman's coming out. Now what am I hearing? Well, they're not showing me much in the trailers. I don't see that the money shot. I don't see, I just keep seeing the same scene of her cutting down that one pillar, and it's like a couple years ago you saw too much. Now they're not showing you a ton. They're showing you a little snippet of many different fight sequences and action sequences, just snippets of it. Now it's not enough. How the hell can anyone win? How could a studio win with these fans? And it's like, the thing is now they're projecting a $65 million opening for a DC movie. And it's like, where did these numbers come from? I never remembered ever hearing these reports of before a movie came out. I heard estimates. I heard Box Office Guru. I read him like, yeah, this is, they're thinking maybe between 70, 80, whatever the movie, Star Wars, they're thinking, 250 million. But now it's like, oh, well, this is a very reliable 65 million. And it just feels like I said, I'm not that guy. I'm not a DC guy. Like I never was. And it's Red Knight kind of, he is, and he talked about this stuff in the past. And it's like, So now they got to show more. Wonder Woman's probably gonna. It said the final trailer, but they're probably gonna overreact because now it's like, what do they do? What they show too much? Now they're showing, I think, the right amount. It's not enough, and you got these companies saying, well, it's not going to do well, and you got executives saying, uh, they were saying 88 million opening weekend tops domestically. It's a woman, female led film, so they never do well. If you're a woman watching this podcast and you're up, you're about equal rights and equal pay and stuff, you better go see Wonder Woman, because if this movie does 65 million, guess what? There goes any leverage for a female actor making as much as a male actor. And it's just, I think it's ridiculous. Why is this conversation even happening? Let's see what the movie, let's people watch it. And then again, DC movies always get just bashed by critics, and especially Rotten Tomatoes average is always so low. It's a female director. You got a female star. Everybody loved Wonder Woman and Batman versus Superman. She was like the two shining bright spots for most people. Everyone agreed Batman and Wonder Woman were awesome. And now this movie's coming out, and it's hard to not feel like there's a conspiracy against Warner Brothers and DC movies. And it's like, I don't want to get drawn into this conspiracy stuff, but who owns Marvel? Disney. How much money do they have? Billions upon billions. They bought out theaters so that only Star Wars was showing on its opening weekend. It's just, it seems very suspicious. I hate to, like I said, I'm not a conspiracy guy. I don't like that. It just feels like that. And I will say this, Suicide Squad pretty much deserved the reviews. I do not like that movie. The first time I saw it, I thought it was okay. The second time, I thought it was pretty damn bad. There's not much about the movie that makes sense. The story, the plot, everything's, I mean, some of the jokes are good, and I love the characters, the representation on film, Harley Quinn, Deadshot. I thought they were cast well. I liked the interaction between the characters, but just the overall story and stuff was terrible. So I'm not going to sit here and say Suicide Squad was a good movie. So that was a bad movie. I don't like it. I have it on Blu-ray. I wish I didn't. I wish I had my $15 back. But anyway, what do you guys think? I think the trailers for Wonder Woman look fantastic. And I'm a male. I'm a Caucasian male. I got no investment in like a female-led movie, or even the same thing they say about minorities or people of color leading a movie. The executives say the same thing. Same with a woman-led or female-led film. Well, they don't do as well as if there's a male Caucasian or a male, leading a movie. Obviously you don't count the what do you call it when it's a bunch of people, like the Avengers. Can't, the word is on the tip of my tongue. But or special occasion, like special event movies, like when 50 Shades of Grey or whatever, when all this hype over nothing and you get all these rabid females going to see the movie. Sometimes those movies do good, like Twilight and stuff, but ensemble, yes, thank you. Yeah, when it's an ensemble movie like Fast and the Furious and stuff, those don't count, because take any one of those actors and put them in a movie by themselves. Look at the Twilight actors. Everyone just assume, or I hate how the executives in Hollywood think anyway. It's like, oh, well, Twilight was huge, so obviously Kristen Stewart can draw big box office numbers. Obviously, Robert Pattinson can draw big box office numbers. By themselves, they did nothing. And it's like, people don't go to see movies for one person, other than maybe Tom Cruise. I feel certain actors do. Like, I know if Tom Cruise agreed to do a movie, his production team's involved, his attention to detail with the stunts and stuff is going to be in the film, and he always usually delivers. So there's a few exceptions, but people go to see a movie because of the movie. People went and saw Jurassic World for dinosaurs because the Jurassic Park was so great. They didn't go for Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, you know. They didn't go see Guardians of the Galaxy because of Chris Pratt. Did they go see Passengers because of Chris Pratt? No. So anyway, that's a little mini rant. I hate when it's just assumed that an actor draws in money or people to go see the movie. Scarlett Johansson's a pretty big name, and Lucy did well, and then Ghost in the Shell does shitty. So I wish they'd just get out of that whole mindset. But back to the main point: if you're a female, go see Wonder Woman. Otherwise, even if you don't think it's a good movie or going to be a good movie, it's almost like you're in a lose-lose situation. If you want equal rights and you want a female actor to make as much as a male actor, same with certain minorities, you know, they don't make as much as the Caucasian stuff. All this stuff will go away if people go see movies that are starring non-Caucasian male actors. So I look forward to diversity, and like you know, Alien Covenant's coming out, and it's like I'm not interested in that movie, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of diversity there. Just because somebody mentioned that movie in the chat. Prometheus to me was absolute trash. It had some beautiful visuals, and you know, the cinematography, everything's great, but not interested in Alien. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked with that, but and you're right. People did go see The Dark Knight for Heath Ledger because he was, you know, he passed away. It's just that's a whole different effect. And his performance was great. They knew the Joker was great, but it was heightened by him passing away before the movie came out. So, you know, there's always exceptions. I would just say, for me, I'm going to go support Wonder Woman. I hope it's a good movie. And if DC can get on track, they don't have any movies scheduled for 2018. Finally, they're going to, I think, take their time. And like I said, I'm not a fanboy of that. I'm watching Doctor Strange right after this. I get done with this video. I have nothing against it. You know, Marvel, sometimes I don't want to have jokes be substitute for good stories and good action and stuff like that, you know. So that's kind of why Marvel doesn't have me as just a diehard loyal fan with their movies. It's just I like comedies and stuff. I like to laugh every once in a while, but with my movies, I don't know. I like it to be smart enough where I'm not like, well, that makes no sense. Like, don't think I'm stupid, you know. So anyway, we'll see what Wonder Woman does. I hope it's a good movie, more importantly than anything else. But if it is a good movie, I hope it does well. And you know, I don't want to see the narrative continue that, well, female-led movies don't make money. Here's proof. And you know, it just doesn't feel right to me. And I don't think that, well, female actors or minorities have been getting screwed all this time, so they, instead of just being equal, they should get they should have an advantage and stuff. Like, I don't agree with that, but I do agree with just if somebody puts in the same amount of work, gives this, you know, same, like let's say there's two co-stars, they're in the movie the same. There's no reason one person should make more than the other unless one's just a huge star. I mean, you gotta factor in star power. Harrison Ford versus you know, some new actor. Yeah, obviously, even if they're in the movie the same amount, you know, that's just how it works. Harrison Ford is going to make more money. The Rock's going to make more money. You know, that kind of stuff is different. That has nothing to do with male and female. You could have two males. One's a new up and comer, and one's an established star. They're going to make more money. So, you know, there's gray area. There's nuance, as Ms. T would say. But sorry about the movie discussion. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And we'll see you guys next week. And on Monday, Juiceless Podcast. I'll just spoil it because these Juice Opinions don't get as many people that watch as, you know, that watch the podcast. So it's going to be Robert Rule 2's last podcast as a regular. So tune in. If I know there's a lot of people that watch the podcast just for Rob, and he'll explain all that. So we're gonna do something special. I don't know exactly how it's gonna, what we're gonna do, but maybe we'll just discuss all of Rob's favorite things, like Resident Evil and some of the stuff I don't like that he likes, and give him the light for one last time. So it should be bittersweet. I think it's going to be a good podcast though, so tune in, and yeah, we'll see you guys next time.